everyone. I want to show you how to make this cute little Christmas card using stamp set C1804. It's called Merry Christmas Tree. I've kind of got it spread out all over my desk here, but it uses a double stamping technique. So I wanted to show you that. I'm going to do a little bit of heat embossing, use some, it's called embellishing thread, and then of course our puffy tape. So let's get started. The first thing I did is I cut some French vanilla cardstock and some candy apple cardstock. Because the card base I'm using, which is a close to my heart card base, the standard size is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. I cut the candy apple to be 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, but then I cut the French vanilla to be 4 by 5 1/4. So it's just a 1/4 of an inch around the edge difference. So I'm going to set our card base off to the side here. And the stamps that I use, I'm going to put the candy apple off to the side as well. The stamps that I used to make the tree are Fern and New England Ivy. These are our old stamp pads. The new ones are much easier to open. If you haven't seen them, they're just magnet. I haven't replaced them because they're still good. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get, I'll use this one. So there's two stamps here on this tree, and I'm going to take this off so you can see it on the overlay. You'll see this one has a denser, I don't know what the word is. The tree itself is denser. Then this one just has sprigs and pieces. So you want to stamp your lighter piece in the bigger piece, because that's going to go on the bottom, and then the darker piece is going to stamp over the top of it. If you did it reversed, your light ink isn't even going to show over the top of your dark ink. So switch these out because I just did the other one first. I just finished the other one. So this is my more full, I guess is the right word, piece of tree. So I'm going to put it on my block, and you're going to do that in the lighter color. And I'm just going to ink it up. Now I find that doing bigger stamps, if you go like this, that'll work, but it's just easier to get good coverage if you lay the stamp down and ink on top of it. And I got ink on my block, which I always do. And I'm going to get it on my piece of paper. I'm going to just lay it on my foam there that comes with your stamp. Get a really good stamping surface. And I'm going to stamp this towards the bottom of my piece of cardstock. So there's part of our tree. And then I'm going to replace this. Just peel it off. Oh, that fell over. And I'm going to clean these up after we're done, so that's why I'm not worried about getting them on there. Just perfect. And then I'm going to put this one on. And then using the New England Ivy, because it's the darker color, I'm going to stamp, did I get that straight? Close enough. Right over the top of it. So that's going to give our tree that two-toned look. And again, ink everywhere. So I'm going to just put this back on my mat here. And I'm going to line it up. And I'm sorry if my head gets in the way. And then, so we have our tree. The next thing I do is I want this to be really dry, and these are the exclusive inks, so they dry really quick. It's not the pigment ink. But the next thing we're going to do is we are going to do our ornaments. And to do that, I'm going to heat emboss. So you want to take your little embossing buddy, static remover, whatever you want to call it, and just lightly go over the top. This keeps the embossing powder from sticking where you don't want it. And then I'm using Versamark ink. And this was also on the stamp pad. I'm just taking this little ornament, and you can see, can you, that there's little places for ornaments already made into our stamp. And so I'm going to stamp this Versamark ink into those. Now you won't be able to see it more than likely because it is clear, but it's wet, and our embossing powder will stick to it. And I'm sure my head is right in your way, and for that I apologize. Just trying to line this up into the spots where it has holes for ornaments. And I'm not getting them perfect, and that is okay, because there is no perfect Christmas tree, especially in my house. Okay. Now, because embossing powder can make kind of a mess, I just use a piece of scratch paper, and I'm just going to pour the embossing powder right over where I've stamped with the Versamark. And tap it off. Now I think I want one more ornament on there because it looks a little dull off to the side. So I am going to add it. There. Now I'm going to set this aside for just a second while I pick up my extra powder. And so I just crease it into the middle and dump it right back into my tray. Quick and easy cleanup. If you don't have a heat tool, this is what they look like, and this gets really hot. So you're gonna be able to, I mean, when you're doing it, you can clearly see when it changes and you're done. You don't want to overheat it because then they will get dull, but hopefully you'll be able to see it on here as well. It's gonna be loud for just a second. And it gets really hot. I'm burning my fingers. Can you see those changing? Whew. Okay. So I'm not done yet. And I actually had an extra little bit of embossing powder right there, but it actually looks okay. So the next thing I want to do is I want to stamp my sentiment, which is Merry Christmas. And for that, I'm using the candy apple ink that matches the paper we're putting it on. So ink up my stamp. And I'm just going to put it right over the top of our tree. Okay. Then I'm going to take just a little bit of adhesive, put it on the back, and I'm going to wrap some of the embellishing thread around the bottom of the card. And I put the adhesive there to hold it. And I want it to kind of crisscross a little bit. I need more. And when I get it to the back side, I can plunk it down. Then, where are my close to my heart scissors? I'm gonna just leave that there. Then I'm gonna just take some puffy squares, and I have the close to my heart foam tape, but for the ease of this video, this is already cut. These come in squares. So this is what I'm going to use. Just going to put some on the back here. And then peel off the backs. And then I'm going to put it right over on top of our candy apple cardstock. Which I am then going to put, onto our card front. And there you have it. Didn't take very long to do it all. I should probably put another ornament right here, but I'm not gonna make you watch me do that. But it's easy to do. You just restamp it and reheat emboss it, and you're done. So there's the card. Where's the other one I made? There's both of them. Both of them all in, I'm gonna say 15 minutes tops. So quick, easy cards, fun stamp to use. It's number C1804. I anticipate this one will sell out because it is Christmas and it's a multi-layer stamp. So if you're gonna want this one, you won't wanna wait on that one. So thanks for watching. Have a wonderful day. I will put links to all of the products that I used in the video description right below here. So have a nice evening.